Hey guys, welcome back. Joe here from 9 to 5ers, and we're going to be talking about something that is pretty amazing. You probably won't believe that it's possible, but how to solve almost any problem out there. You're probably pretty skeptical if this is actually possible, but there is a scientific or a mathematical, logical way to solve almost any problem out there. Now, unfortunately, we won't be able to solve cancer on this, or maybe how to deal with your in-laws, but this is going to be for the vast majority of problems out there that are not super simple to solve. So problems, we all have them. We need to solve them. Most of them just don't go away as much as we want to ignore them. I can attest to you on that one. There's totally different ways to attack problems, and there's totally different ways to find the right answer. But we want to find a systematic way, a step-by-step process to solve almost any problem out there, because unfortunately, I can't come into your business through the YouTube land and just go, oh, you need to do this, you need to do that, and that's how you're going to solve your problem, because everybody's problem is going to be unique. And we want to give you something that you can work with that can solve, a process that can solve most of your problems out there that come up that that you can do on your own, because the better I can make you guys autonomous from anything else, the better you're going to be, and the better our society is going to be. So let's focus a little bit here. Let's talk about what we're not going to talk about, so we can move into actually what we're going to talk about here. So YouTube and Google search problems, the step-by-step process and how-to problems, we're not going to really focus on those too much here. If you need to change out, if your sink is leaking and you need to fix your sink, and you don't want to call a plumber and you want to do it yourself, that's not the type of problems we're going to solve here, because that's a YouTube video that you can walk the step by step. And yeah, it might take you twice as long or 3 times as long what a plumber does, but we're going to talk about some other kind of types of problems. So let's just jump right into it. So what are we going to be talking about? Problems that are unique to you or the situation that you're in. Problems that are reoccurring, problems that pop up on a consistent basis that are just like, why does this keep happening? Complex issues, things that have more than one moving part into it. Long-term issues that have an impact on your life. So something that is not going to be something that's going to affect you for a long period of time. It's a complex issue, a long-term issue, and something that's kind of unique, something that is unique maybe to you. So you can look up on YouTube how to lose weight, and there's going to be a million videos that pop up along with the internet, but those problems aren't really going to help. Those are just some kind of just buckshot, like just basic top 10 list type of thing. So we need to figure out something that we can apply, a tool that we can apply to our own lives to fix problems that are unique to us. This is going to be the process, and we'll walk through it here really, really slow. So ask yourself some questions. What am I trying to solve here? How can I define this problem, and what issue do I need to overcome? Now, this is very, very, very important that you get this step right. Defining the problem correctly and to a point is really, really important, because this is going to be the basis of where you go and find information, do tests, to figure out how to solve an issue. And defining this properly is really, really going to help you figure out how to deal and how to focus on the problem and solve the problem and set up the right test for it. So it's really, really important that you get these questions correct and spend some time here. So let's say that you have a problem. Let's say the weight loss is the problem, and you've done the top 10 ways to lose weight, blah, 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 exercise equipment, that type of stuff. What am I trying to solve here? Well, I'm trying to lose weight. Okay. And how can I define this problem? Well, the problem is that every single year, the scale seems to be going in an upward direction versus a downward direction. And I'm past the years of me actually growing. Like, I'm not getting heavier because I'm getting taller. I'm getting heavier because I'm growing horizontally versus vertically. And what issues do I need to overcome? So let's say that, I'll use myself here as an example. Let's say I'm trying to lose weight, and what issues do I need to overcome? Well, I know that I eat late at night, and I'm one of those people where if I sit in front of the TV, I will sit there and just kind of snack and snack and snack and not really pay attention to how much I'm eating. And I'm also one of those people where if I get super stressed out or if I get super burnt out or I'm tired, I will stress eat as well. So I'll board eat and I'll stress eat. So the problem that I'm trying to solve is I'm trying to reduce the amount of to lower the amount of calories that I'm intaking versus the amount of calories that I am expelling, so that I lose weight. And some of the issues that I'm having is that I eat when I'm bored, and I also am I'm a stress eater as well. And let's also throw in there that I have a sweet tooth as well. Let's say that. What is my desired outcome? Let's say my desired outcome. I'm 6'1", so I don't need to be 120 pounds. That's way too small for me. Like I don't want to be. The scale is important to me, but I also want to maybe, let's say, look good naked. I want to be in good physical health. I want to have some muscle mass. So if I lose a little bit of weight, but that fat turns into muscle, then I'm okay with losing maybe only 10 or 15 pounds. And let's say right now that I weigh 230 pounds and let's just say it's mostly fat. I'm not a bodybuilder. So my desired outcome is to look good naked. Now, look good naked is subjective, but it's defined by what I feel that I would look good naked versus how I look good now. So research the answers to those questions. So the issues that I'm having is that has anyone already tried to solve this problem? Now, this is where you would go to maybe YouTube or the internet and you would look up how to deal with eating when you're bored, or how to deal with a sweet tooth, or how to deal with stress eating. What are some things? Now you're specifically looking up answers to specific problems that you have instead of I just want to lose weight. So I go online, I look up and I'm like, how do I fix these 3 problems? And I kind of look at some tips and tricks that each person out there that has dealt with this personally, has overcome this. I get their advice. I don't try to get advice from someone that is never dealt with this issue themselves, because they're basically just regurgitating information that maybe they read from somewhere else, and they don't really know if it works actually for them. And they can't feel the answer and feel the pain going through and getting to that answer versus someone that goes, hey, I used to be 250 pounds and I just sat on the couch all day and just ate chips all day. Now, I work out all the time. I watch 30 minutes of TV, that type of thing. Is there a group out there or an organization or a person that has dealt with this issue before? So, the one that popped up in my mind immediately was Weight Watchers. Maybe there are some exercise people out there that their own personal journey has been like, listen, I used to be a couch potato and now I run triathlons and I do still watch TV, but I watch it, maybe 30 minutes a day, and I don't eat when I'm bored. And I found different ways, some different hacks in my life to not stress eat. So there's going to be some organizations out there that have dealt with an issue. So let's take a step back here. Let's say we're not talking about, my weight problem that I'm having right now. Let's say that we're talking about a business problem, and we're not cash flowing properly. We got orders coming in and we're making product but we're still just losing money every single month. Like, where would I go? Well, I would go and look at someone that is also in this field that's been successful in this or the same basic type of field. I would maybe talk to an accountant or someone that could come in as a bookkeeper and like an outside consultant and look at my books, see where I'm spending my money, see what my issues are, that type of thing. So that could be outside organizations or groups that have dealt with that issue. 3, from the research, I make up a sample answer, a hypothesis of like, if I do this, then I will get the results that I want. So my step-by-step process by this time, including these people, I should be able to solve this problem. So let's put in my weight issue that I'm having right now with sitting on the couch, eating potato chips, and also dealing with stress. So we'll say that I've looked it up, and an X person has said that if I am stressful, if I'm stressed out and I decide to eat things, there's two basic things that I could do here to alleviate that one part of this larger problem. And this one part would be my stress eating. We'll say that I need to redirect that stress, stress equals food, to something else. Stress needs to equal something else. Maybe I take a nap. Maybe I redirect it into a hobby. I take a break for the day. Or maybe I find different ways to reduce my stress. Or maybe figure out where that stress is coming from. If that stress is coming from somewhere, maybe I can look at maybe eliminating or delegating that stress to somebody else. That is that's where their skill set lies. And that might be somewhere, let's say that I'm stressed out. I get stressed out after I do my books every single month. Okay, well, I would delegate my books to a bookkeeper and I would pay him or her, and I would no longer be doing my books, which would basically mean I'd be getting a report, looking at the report, and the stress of doing my books has disappeared. So I've eliminated that stress. Is there a way to mitigate that stress? Let's say I'm working too many hours. Well, you can delegate some of your work, or you can change some things around in your business, in my business, where I am getting less stress from my business by maybe I'm taking less phone calls from customers. Maybe I delegate that to somebody else, and I basically just take a little bit less of a profit in that regard. It might not. I might be delegating my bills or my phone calls from people to a salesperson, the dedicated salesperson, and my sales actually go up. And by this time, so let's say that I want to lose 15 pounds and I want to, my look good naked. Well, okay, let's say I want to look good naked by the end of one calendar year. Is that a fair amount of time for me to look good naked? Do I weigh 500 pounds or do I weigh 250 pounds? And my basic goal process is maybe to get down to 200 pounds. Well, 500 pounds in a year it's probably unhealthy of an approach to try to lose 300 pounds in 1 year. But losing 50 pounds in 1 year is definitely a doable thing. So make sure that your time frame that you're trying to solve this problem is reasonable. And if you don't know what your time frame if you don't know what the time frame is, then just kind of do an educated guess and be willing to move that marker if you need to, because maybe you've never solved this problem before and you don't know how long it's going to take. And include these people that you're going to need into the process of solving this problem, because you're going to have some questions or some issues that come up along the way during this journey of my weight loss. And I'm going to have to call them and just go, okay, well, what if this happens? Then I need to go up and look that up and see how to deal with that. So test for X time. And X obviously is arbitrary. It depends on the type of problem. It depends on how big the problem is, how complex the problem is, of what you need to do there. So it needs to be long enough for you to get a result, but not too long either that you're not really putting in the effort to making the problem go away, to eliminating the problem. So not long enough would be, let's say I want to lose 50 pounds. I want to get down to 200 pounds. Well, not long enough would be a month. Losing 50 pounds in a month is just bananas hard to do and probably not healthy to do. But it can't be too long either. I can't say, well, in 5 years, I'm going to lose 50 pounds. That might be like, I'm not going to push hard enough to do what I need to do because I feel like I got all the time in the world. Like technically I could lose that all in the fifth year. So let's just mess around till year 5. This is an art. It's not exactly a science, but the goalpost that you're trying to get between is that you need to be pushing hard enough to where you're making a conscious effort to solve the problem, but also not setting unreasonable expectations to get the results that you need. There might be some money required involved with solving this problem as well. So make sure that you set a correct budget and along with the time frame to get the problem solved. So let's say you're in a business and let's say you're just not getting enough customers. You just don't have enough customers. You have a great product. You can beat the competition in your product quality and the speed of getting your product to the customer. You just don't have enough customers. Well, you are going to need to, let's say you want to double your client basis, and you set the time frame, but to get that client basis, you're going to have to do some marketing, some sales calls, maybe hire some salespeople. That's going to require some money, and you need to set a budget that is fair to that. Now, this is also not an exact science. You're going to have to kind of move forward in an artistic manner and be able to move that needle a little bit as needed. But the main goal here is that we're solving a problem that is bigger than what this little budget should be, whether or not, start small and then grow if needed. So as the test unfolds, you're going to want to observe the results and see what's transpiring. Be objective. Maybe have someone else outside of you take a look at the results and have them look at the results that's happening. So if I'm trying to lose weight, and let's say I'm losing a pound a month, and I would maybe get a fitness coach, and I'd go, Joe, a pound a month is not, that's good, but it's not great. And you could do way better than that. So having an outside perspective might help with that. Keep the standards the same throughout to get accurate results. So when you are trying to solve a problem, and I am trying to solve a problem, and I've decided that sitting on the couch and eating potato chips while I'm bored, and stress eating and sugar, those are the three issues that I'm dealing with. I don't need to go out and try to adjust and change the parameters of the experiment, because if I do that and the experiment doesn't go, even if it goes well or if it doesn't go well, I'm not going to know what the actual needle mover was. Let's say that I'm going through this and I completely eliminate eating on the couch. I don't eat anything while I'm watching TV. And when I'm stressed out, I don't go for the cupboards or the microwave and start eating Hot Pockets. But I take my sugar, and let's just say I just cut that in half. I don't eliminate sugar, but I cut it in half. And I start to lose weight. And let's say I'm losing like a pound a month, or I'm losing weight, and I'm having I'm moving in a correct way. Well, let's say that I just go, well, I want to ramp this up. Like I'm gonna eliminate sugar completely, and then I eliminate sugar completely. But eliminating the sugar completely, maybe that was like the one thing that I had that was kind of like my reward for not eating on the couch and not stress eating. And then I feel like that reward's been taken away from me. Now I go like, well, I'm just gonna, and then it stresses me out, and I start stress eating again. So the point that I'm trying to make here, guys, is that make sure that as the test unfolds, whatever you're testing, whether it be in business, health, family, whatever it is that you keep your parameters the same throughout the entire experiment, because no matter what the results are, you're going to want to know what worked and what didn't work. If everything didn't work, yes, that's a pain in the neck and you didn't really move forward, but you know what doesn't work. And now you can adjust your second experiment down the road when you start a new experiment, and know that these three parameters did not help your experiment at all. So step 6, take a step back and analyze what has happened after X time. So your time frame has gone by, you're looking at the results. Let's say that a year has gone by for me, and I wanted to lose 50 pounds, and let's say I lost 25 pounds. And I do an analysis, and I'm like, okay, was 50 pounds the correct amount? Was that the correct amount of weight that I tried to lose in 1 year? Is that a fair amount of weight to lose in 1 year? But because I didn't hit that goal. Well, let's say I look at it and I go, you know what? I didn't always remove the stress eating. There's a few times there where I relapsed and I stress ate, and then a couple of those months I actually gained a pound, or I was even that month. So I kind of didn't, and there were some months where I was really diligent and focused, and I lost 4 pounds in that month. Or I lost 5 pounds in that month. Great. So I noticed that the stress eating had a factor. I noticed that I was on point, I was losing weight. And when I wasn't on point and I was stress eating, I gained weight, or I was basically even. So I know that the stress eating has a factor in my life. And I eliminated I reduced, let's just say that I reduced the amount of time that I was watching TV. And I also did not eat when I was in front of the TV. And when I did that, I noticed that my weight dropped. And I was more, if I'm not watching TV, I was up, moving around, I was active, I was doing something. So I was burning calories that way. And maybe something else that I realized is that when I was stress eating, I was also watching more TV, and they were compounding each other. So let's say that maybe through this whole process, I found out that my keystone habit, my big issue that was really a big issue for me, was stress. Let's say that stress was the number one factor. If my stress was under control, I didn't eat that much sugar, I did not sit in front of the TV and just shovel potato chips into my mouth. But when I was very stressful, my sugar intake went up. And also I would try to watch TV while I was, and I watched TV, and I would also eat potato chips consistently. So I found out through this experiment that the keystone habit was to reduce stress. If I can reduce stress, everything else in my life gets a lot better. Now, when I started this video, I just made up an example and went through this process to give you guys something that you could kind of latch onto. So this just wasn't all vague theory type of things. But you're going to find out when you get to step 6 that you have enough data to look at when you're analyzing a problem, whether it be your health or your business, whatever it is that inside of there, when you were trying to hit those numbers every single month, that you didn't hit them every single time. And then you're going to see a pattern of what actually mattered and what really didn't matter. Like, I figured out during my process that stress led to a downfall of everything else in my life when it came to health. But if I reduced my stress by either delegating my work to somebody else, or maybe taking on a little bit less work when I was at the office, or gave myself the full weekend off instead of working 7 days straight, that translated to pounds lost at home, and I was a better husband, what have you. So what did you predict versus what actually happened? That's when you're kind of analyzing the data. Enough time's gone by, you can look and see, what did you learn? I talked about that in my example about the stress. And what questions are still unanswered? And maybe in my situation, I'm saying to myself, I'm just like, okay, maybe there's some unanswered questions in my situation. I'm just like, I did work out every single week, but I don't feel that the working out that I was doing was maybe variable enough. All I was doing was just running. Like, should I be doing some weight training? Should I be doing some push-ups? Should I be varying my exercise to get different types of results and working different body groups? Because in my basic experiment, I just said to myself, just get up off the couch and start moving. Maybe if I amp up my exercise and I try to do something different with my exercise, that might help me with working different muscle groups, type of thing. 7, ask other smart people in this area to review your first 6 steps and get their opinion. Ask an ignorant person too. Off the wall perspectives reveal blind spots. And I thought that was a funny thing that I wanted to put in there, is that sometimes dumb people ask dumb questions, and the dumb questions give you a new perspective on a situation. And let's just say so let's go with the smart people first. So I'm talking to a dietitian, or I'm talking to a personal trainer, and they're looking through this, and the personal trainer is like, Joe, you're not working your upper body at all. All you're doing is running. Your upper body is mush. And if you had bigger muscles, in your shoulders, your arms, and your back, like, you'd be burning calories on a more often, and you would lose weight just by those muscles burning calories. And like, that would be an educated person's perspective. And they would be asking you an intelligent question and something that they noticed. Or let's say that the dietitian is looking at it and just goes, yeah, I see that you cut your sugar in half, but your carbohydrates, that's a variation of sugar. What type of carbohydrates you're eating? And I start telling the dietitian, and then she goes, okay, well, why don't you try doing this or that when you're eating your carbohydrates, and that is going to give you a higher energy level throughout the day. So I'm like, okay, great. And an ignorant person might come up to you and just be like, you know, they might ask an off the wall question, just go like, how's your marriage? And I'm just like, oh man, my wife and I were like fighting like cats and dogs. And it's just, we're all stressed out about, and then that's when you figure it out. You're just like, oh man, a lot of my stress is coming from my marriage because my wife and I are fighting like cats and dogs about, I don't know, like finances or in-laws. Let's just say that, like, we're fighting about that. That's an off the wall ignorant question, because the dietitian, the dietitian and the personal trainer might bring that up, but they're kind of in their blinders and they're focused on their level of expertise. And that's where they're going to go first, because that's where an expert, an ignorant person is going to come up and just throw out a question. Now, they might throw out something that's completely just nonsensical and doesn't make any sense. You kind of have to watch for that. But every once in a while, getting an outside perspective of someone that just has an outside perspective for the sake of having an outside perspective, they might throw something at you that you've never thought of before. And you'll get that a lot of in mastermind groups, when you sit down and you actually talk and you have a mastermind group, which we do with our group. So having some ignorant people next to you is actually a good thing. And, if I could, if my wife and I go to a counselor and start talking through our marriage about our finances and our in-law troubles, we can actually I can reduce my stress that way. I thought all my stress was coming from work, but man, it was actually coming from the conflict with my wife that I love very much. But we're still having marital issues like most marital people have. What do you do next? Well, you move forward with your findings. So I found out that my keystone issues that I was having was coming from stress. And not only was it coming from stress from work, but it was also coming from stress from, having arguments with my wife. Now I would go back to step one with this new information that I have, and I would set a new time parameter, a new financial parameter, a new whatever parameter. And when I say time also doesn't mean just like, I'm going to do this experiment for 1 calendar year. It also means that, like, hey, I'm going to go out and exercise for an hour a day. And then on the days that I'm not running, I'm going to be doing push-ups up in my office, type of thing. And I'm also going to go to a marriage counselor, and I'm going to spend an hour doing that. So make sure that the time is a 360-degree circle that you're going to be focusing on the whole problem, and not just like, oh, for a year I'm going to really work really hard. Well, that's not really a good time parameter. Make sure you have the time parameter set in per day, per week, per month, per year. So guys, what'd you think about this? Is this a basic thought process to solve most problems out there? When I say most problems, is that obviously we didn't cure cancer here, but I think what a lot of scientists are using is this basic scientific method to solve the bigger questions with life. Unfortunately, curing cancer or the big global issues that we have out there, they are extremely complex. Losing weight is tough, but it's not the same as curing cancer. And that's kind of what we're kind of focusing on here, is that, like, can we solve these smaller, complex, annoying, long-term problems with a scientific method? And I think that we can. So do you have any questions about this? What problems are you struggling with right now? Put them down in the comments below. What has stopped you in the past from reaching your financial goals? And always, please like, comment, subscribe. That really helps out our YouTube channel, and check us out on Facebook, 9 to 5ers. Thank you so much. Have a good one.